Good morning, boys and girls. Good to see you again, and I hope that you are excited to hear another story of the Saints of the Eucharist. Today's story is about Blessed Imelda Lambertini, and you might remember her story as I go on the reading today because we saw the story much earlier this year when we watched it in the Brother Francis Eucharist video. So you might be familiar with the story, and I also sent you the coloring pages, so I hope you enjoy the story of Blessed Imelda. In a faraway country, there once lived a little girl named Imelda. She was the only child, and her mother and father loved her dearly. They were very rich, for her father was a captain general, and her mother lived like a queen. Their home was like a palace. Many people would visit there every day because Imelda's parents were so kind to them. Everyone loved the little girl too because she was so good and kind and holy. Little Imelda loved to make other people happy. Even as a very small child, she loved to give away her toys and candy. "Isn't it wonderful to help others and make them happy?" she used to tell herself. "God lives in each one. And when we make them happy, then God is very happy. When we help the sick, the poor, and those who are very sad, then we are really helping God." There was much music and dancing at the many parties given at the palace. At such times, little Imelda would hide away and try to find a quiet corner where she could pray. "Dear God," she would often say, "these are not the things for me. They don't make me happy. I like the things that make me think of you. It's you and you alone that I long for. If only you would come to me, how happy I would be." Yes, more than anything else in the world, Imelda longed to receive Jesus in Holy Communion, and it seemed that the big day would never come. She was always told to wait. In Imelda's time, the boys and girls did not receive their first Holy Communion until they were 12 or even 14 years old. Imelda often thought of her heart as a little tabernacle in which God lived. At times, the maid, Bernice, would find her kneeling in the garden in prayer. Her hands would be folded and her eyes closed as she whispered secrets to her Lord and King. "Oh, Beatrice, Imelda, Imelda, what on earth are you doing here, kneeling on the ground?" Beatrice would call. "Oh, Beatrice, I was just thinking about how wonderful it is that God lives in me. I'm like a little tabernacle." "God lives in you too, Beatrice, since you're baptized. He lives in all souls in sanctifying grace. Beatrice, isn't that wonderful?" As Imelda grew older, she begged her parents to let her live with the sisters at the convent school where she was going every day. She wished to learn still more about God. She thought, too, she might sooner be able to receive Jesus in Holy Communion. Little Imelda's mother and father were very sad to see her go, but they knew that this is what God wanted. They knew she'd be very happy with the sisters. How happy Imelda was in her new home. She worked very hard. She studied her lessons well. She obeyed the sisters, and every day she prayed for her dear parents and everyone she loved. She prayed for the sick and the poor. Imelda prayed for the whole world. After some months, Imelda became a sister. They called her Sister Imelda. Now Imelda was sure Jesus would come to her. "Come to me, sweet Jesus," she prayed. "I long for you so much. Come to me today." Then she would wait and watch to see if Jesus would come at communion time. Often Imelda would run up to one of the sisters asking, "When may I receive Jesus? Now I am a sister too." "You must wait," they told her over and over again. "You are still too young. You are not yet 14. Sometimes Imelda would meet the priest and ask, "Father, may I receive Jesus now? I am much older than when I came." The good priest would only smile and answer, "Imelda, you must still wait a while. Jesus will not forget you. He will watch. When you are ready, then he will come." This made the little girl prepare her heart all the more. Many times she whispered the words of the kind priest, "Jesus will not forget you. He will watch when you are ready, then he will come." And Imelda would say again, "Jesus, but I am ready. I just can't wait." You will come soon, I know you will." Jesus must have loved Imelda's prayer. He must have loved the way she longed for him. He must have loved the way she talked to him. Her heart was so full of love for him. So Jesus gave Imelda a big surprise. One day, something wonderful happened. All the sisters had just received Jesus. Only Imelda was left alone again, crying as if her heart would break. With tears in her eyes, Imelda prayed, "Dear Lord, I've waited and waited. I know you're really present in the tabernacle. You have come to the other sisters, but you still have not come to me. Please listen and come to me. I won't tell anyone of your visit." Suddenly, there was a big flash of light. Imelda looked up. Above her in the air, she saw one of the sacred hosts. No, Jesus did not forget her. Jesus had left the tabernacle to come to her. The chapel became bright and beautiful. Imelda was ready. The kind priest saw the host too, and he knew what God wished him to do. So he came over to the little girl with the golden plate in his hands. Holding the plate near Imelda, the priest reached for the sacred host, then placed it on the tongue of little Imelda. This was Imelda's first Holy Communion. Her heart seemed to burst with love and joy. Everyone who saw this wonderful first Holy Communion knew that God loved Imelda very much. They knew how happy Imelda must have been because she had waited so long. They knew she was ready to receive Jesus. Little Imelda was too happy even to look around. She seemed to be all alone with Jesus. She could never finish talking to him. She knelt there a long, long time, with her hands folded and her eyes closed. Her heart was burning with love for Jesus. She must have thanked him for coming so much to her in a wonderful surprise. It was getting very late. One of the sisters went to Imelda to call her. "Come, come, Sister Imelda, it's time to go. Time to eat breakfast now. It is getting very late." But little Imelda did not hear the sister. She didn't even answer her. The sister didn't even see her move, even a little. So the sister came very close to Imelda and looked. "No, it cannot be. Her face, it's like an angel's," she cried. Yes, Sister Imelda's heart was so filled with God's love that her heart could not even hold it. What a happy First Communion day to live with Jesus in heaven. Truly, it was Imelda's first, but also her last Holy Communion on earth. No one was ever sad about little Imelda. They knew that she had gone to live with Jesus. Even Imelda's father and mother were so happy to know how very much Jesus had loved their little girl. So we can learn from her story that Blessed Imelda didn't care so much about the things of the world as the things of Jesus. And she wanted so much to receive Jesus. So all the things in the world made her think about Jesus and long for Jesus. And Jesus heard her prayers. So we can follow Blessed Imelda too and try to think of Jesus more during the day and let the things out in nature and our family and all the love we receive from others and all of our gifts that God gives us remind us about Jesus and how much he loves us and make us think about Jesus. We all are so excited to be receiving Jesus in First Holy Communion this year, and we can prepare our hearts with so much love, just like Imelda did. Bye, boys and girls, and I'll be seeing you again tomorrow.